Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Orange Report with Kira Davis. I'm your host, Kira Davis. If you've been following along, let's see. It says, Scott, broadcast not available on X right now. I don't know why it's saying that. Take a look. Make sure it's streaming to X. Looks like we lost one of our... I'm just going to keep going. Welcome to the Orange Report. I'm Kira Davis, and if you have been watching this show weekly for the last 5 or 6 episodes, you'll see that this format is different. Now, we have decided we're moving back to a podcast format, so we're back in the home studio. We're doing things a little differently. So when we launched the Orange Report, we wanted to bring information about Orange County in particular, but California news to our county, to the state, and ultimately to a national audience. As you guys know, I have a national audience. That's what I do in my day job. But I feel very called to do this show, but it was getting very difficult to have 2 brands going at the same time, Orange Report and Kira Davis. I've needed to find a way to merge these brands for a while now. And I think the way to do that was to get out of the studio and back into my home studio, because this is what I do best. I podcast. And what we want to do is we want to come to you every day with news and opinions from around California and Orange County. Again, I believe these are national stories. These are stories that matter to all kinds of people. Not just people in Orange County, but I feel very driven to cover Orange County for the sake of the rest of the nation. So this is what I do. I'm a talker. So we're going to move to a daily format here. Probably what we're going to do is 3 to 4 days a week live. I'm thinking about maybe taking Wednesdays off for live, but we'll see how it goes. 3 to 4 days a week live, just a typical podcast where I get to talk, I get to discuss the stories and have guests on. And then the 5th day of the week, Fridays, we'll release a traditional show. For those of you who like the traditional format, we will create a traditional show at the end of the week that includes some fresh content, but also will recap what we did during the week. And we're hoping that this is the format that works best for us. This is where I feel most confident, sitting in this chair and talking directly to you on a daily basis. I was finding it difficult to squeeze in all of the news and opinion on Orange County and California in 1 hour a week. And I'll tell you what, that's a good thing. When I started this show, I was very nervous about how was I going to find stories? Who was going to talk to me in Orange County? I do national news, and I don't do I in the past haven't done a whole lot of work here in Orange County, although that's certainly changed. And I thought, I'm going to have to go digging. And opposite. People are so excited for this show, and I have had stories now. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. So this is why I think that we need to move to a daily format, and I think this is going to be what is going to be ultimately what is going to launch this show to the next level. And now that I feel comfortable, we can go ahead and plan our launch party, because I wasn't going to ask people to seriously donate to this show until I knew what I wanted it to be. But let me tell you a little bit about what we've got coming up. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of things, but for the rest of this week, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're subscribed. So if you're watching live right now, and I know we're just up and running, so some of you might not even be aware that we're going live now, but if you are watching, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please do that and share. Let people know that we're here. But if you're watching this later, or you're watching live and you're thinking, I've got to take off, Kira, I can't sit here for an hour and watch, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channels, X, Instagram, Rumble, and then all of the recordings will be up there as well. And as long as you're signed up for those things, you're going to hear me. You're going to find me. But tomorrow, I'm going to have an education correspondent on, Shan Kurtz. She is a warrior, a mom friend of mine, but she's also been working very hard in the education and political space here in Orange County for a few years now. And she has some news on the Marabelli decision, which affected the parental rights stuff going on here in California. We're all very happy about that decision, but Shan has discovered that some conservative school boards are still dragging their feet in protecting the kids. So she found out some disturbing information. And then next week, Brenda Lebsack is going to stop by the show, and she's going to talk to us about how many kids in Orange County are actually in a secret transition program in our school systems in Orange County public schools. It's not in the dozens, my friends. It's in the hundreds, and we have documentation. So Brenda Lebsack is going to join us. I'm also working on hunting down the OC Creek team. I think Shan's going to get me hooked up with them. But they've been spraying Roundup in our creeks, in the San Juan Creek. And as we all know, because there's a reason we live here, we live by the beach, our children who are on surf teams and swim teams, they train in those waters, and our families are playing in the runoff from those waters. Orange County in California prides itself on being a green state and a green area, and they're spraying harsh chemicals that are linked to fertility issues, linked to cancer issues. They are spraying that into the channels. I'm not going to give away this story because wait until you hear. I'm still working on getting in touch with those guys, but I think I'm going to get them. Wait until you hear why they spray the channels. And it's just, at the end of the day, everybody, it's just the joke's on you. The joke's on us. This is all fake. Everything that Sacramento tells us about what we need to be doing, or what we owe this state, or what the problems of this state are, or what they're doing to fix the problem, it's all lies. It's no longer an issue of the inmates are running the asylum, or these are just useless or useful, depending on how you look at it, idiots. That's it. It's no longer that. This is deliberate. This is deliberate. I heard Jillian Michaels, who used to be on reality TV, and now she's a conservative podcaster. And she's only relatively recently red pilled. So she's discovering things. And for her, they're brand new, And I'm finding it fascinating to watch all of these red pilled famous people come over to the other side. And they have these big platforms as if they're very informed, but a lot of them are only just now getting informed. Jillian, I didn't mean that to sound insulting, because you are informed and you're informing yourself. But it's always a surprise for people. Like when people move out of California into real America and they come back and they're like, do you know that you can buy a house somewhere for $150,000? Like, yeah. Those of us who have lived in real America do know that that's normal. But Californians are shocked to find that out. We don't live any other way. So when people come over to the right, a lot of time, especially when they come with their platforms already in place, a lot of times they're working out their discoveries in real time for massive audiences, which I think has great value, because I do believe a lot of their audiences are taking the journey with them. So thank you to Jillian Michaels. I didn't mean to sound insulting about that, but what she said was, she said, California, I don't think that this is the bug. I think this is the feature. I think this is all deliberate. One of us. Welcome, Jillian. Yeah, it's deliberate. Let me tell you a story before I move on to our to the first story I want to talk about today, which is gas. I want to tell you a story about when I was working on AB5. Jillian, there's a lot going on here in California. You're just touching the surface. Some of us have been putting out fires uselessly for years, I think. And so I'm glad to see people like you, picking up a fire hose, because, girl, there's a lot. Let's talk. Well, I was working on AB5, which was a independent contractor killing bill years ago. And I was in a meeting with a member of the assembly and his staffer and some other activists, mostly left-wing activists who were complaining about this bill. There's mostly the left-wingers that were upset about it, and because it was a job killing bill. And this left wing, I'll never forget this man. He was in his 60s. He was a theater director. He ran a theater program in LA for kids. Gay man, proud liberal, proud Democrat. This is how he introduced himself. So I'm not talking out of turn. He introduced himself that way because he wanted this particular legislator to know, I'm on your side. Like, I'm your constituent. I'm the guy who voted for you, not this girl over here, this weird black conservative. What's she even doing here? I'm the guy. And he's telling his story and he's sobbing. I'm going to have to close down this program. I've helped hundreds of children over the years. I'm going to have to close down this program. And the politician looked at him and said, I'm doing this to help you. And that was it. Walked away from us, and that was it. The bill passed, and it killed jobs. And I talked to a staffer afterwards, a Republican staffer, he just happened to be near. And he said, I can tell that you're not up here in Sacramento very much, which no, I'm not. And he said, but I need you to know that this is actually what it is here. This is actually the plan. They don't care about you. Democrats actually have a stated, actual written out, devised plan. Their goal, Democrats' goal in California, in Sacramento, is to have every Californian either be a member of a union, so W-2 employee and a member of a union, or on the dole. Either way, you're beholden to the welfare party, right? Or the union party, which right now is the Democrat Party, at least still here in California, although we're seeing unionization loyalties shift, aren't we? Nationally speaking. So Jillian Michaels is right. It is the feature. It's not the bug. And that's why we need to take things a lot more seriously these days. Let's get to some state and national news before we hit up what's going on in and around Orange County. And it's election season, folks. So it is heating up. We've got the gubernatorial race going on. Y'all know how I feel about it. I don't want to spend too much time advocating for one particular candidate or the other from this platform. But everyone by now should know my loyalties. It's not a secret. And I do think that we've got an issue. There are people here who think both of these candidates are going to push through. I don't think so. I don't think the math is there. I think Chad Bianco needs to drop out. But that being said, either way, what we are looking at is an accountability issue. So no matter what happens with Chad and Steve, or no matter where your loyalties lie, no matter who you think should go in, either way, as Republicans, we need to be doing our jobs to hold Democrats accountable. These two candidates can and should go after each other. I know a lot of y'all out there are feeling nervous about that, but that's politics, right? This is the fire, right? And this is how they're refined, by the way. This is why it's important to have a primary process. The jungle primary robs us of this, and we've got to do sort of a fake version of it. But the primary process this is what I said about Trump when he was going through the primary process. And a lot of y'all out there were like, we know Trump's going to get nominated. Why are we even going through this ridiculous charade? Everyone needs to drop out and let's get this show on the road. But my point was, no, I know we're going to end up with Trump, and I'll be happy to end up with Trump. But he needs to go through that fire. They all do. All those candidates do. It shapes them. And then we get to see who they really are. And if we want to, it's good for us too, to see all this. But let's get to some gas prices. So Gavin Newsom is out. Let me take a breath before I start talking about Gavin. Where in the world is Gavin Newsom, everybody? Where's our governor? Everything is falling to pieces here. Everything's a damn mess. And he's out there on a book tour. He's been to New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina. I think he was in Ohio yesterday. You know where he's not? In California, but he's still the governor. Meanwhile, while he's on the book tour, he's out there tweeting about Donald Trump and gas prices and Trump's war. And Trump said he was going to lower gas prices and gas is going up. And he's blaming Donald Trump for that. He's blaming Donald Trump for the high prices in California. It's absolutely insane. So Kevin Dalton, if you don't follow him on X, you really should. He reached back for about a year. He pulled this video of Newsom, and I'm going to let Scott, our producer, play the sound in just a minute. But he pulled this video of Newsom from a year ago. This is him in 2025. So right now, as of today, Newsom is tweeting about Trump's gas price hike, as if California's gas prices were just really, like, we were at $2 a gallon and suddenly they're up to over $5. No, we've always had high gas prices, and it's because of Gavin Newsom and because of the oil refinery issue. He has shut down almost all. We had, folks, we have 49 oil refineries. We are down to 3. And the last 2 of the last ones are getting ready to go offline this summer. So whose gas crisis is this? I love how he's trying to memory hole all of that as if we've been enjoying the same gas prices that the rest of the country has. And we haven't. Yeah, the rest of the country can complain about their $2 a gallon gas going up to $3. We're talking about $5 a gallon gas going up to $8 in California. All right. So can we play that video again, Scott? Can we play that and then play it with sound? Let's see if we can get that pulled up. Here. I'll stop talking.
Increase in California. They are taking advantage of you. There is increase in California. They are taking advantage of you. They're lying to you. And what they do is they manipulate.
Mute on your Twitter feed. Make sure the mute is off or on. Nope. Okay. It's not going to play. Fine. No worries. Don't worry about it. We're doing it live, folks. We're working out the kinks in real time. I have a producer now. Look at me. I have a producer now. So yeah, we're working out these kinks. We might have to move to a different platform. So we'll just ask for your continued patience as we work through these stories. But that video that I was going to play for you, and I'll make sure that it's inserted into the edits, and we'll include it in show notes. But that clip was Gavin from a year ago in 2025 saying that he was going to investigate the oil companies for raising their gas prices. He was going to investigate the oil companies for price gouging after he just placed millions and billions of dollars in green energy regulations on the oil refineries after he just vowed to close down. And it's one of the few promises he's kept, to close them down. And they're saying, we have enough oil to power all of California and sell our own oil to ourselves. The green energy capital of America pumps oil. We do get oil out of the ground here in California, and we ship it overseas. And then you know how we get the oil that we need? We ship it from overseas. So we ship it from China. We ship our oil from the ground in California. Guess what? We sell our oil to Nevada. Did y'all know that? Last year, I don't know if you remember this, there was a crisis. The oil pipeline, I think it was because a government shutdown or something, but the oil pipeline, the headline blew my mind, from California to Nevada was drying up, and Nevada was mad because they didn't know how they were going to get their gas. We're like, wait a minute. Why? How are we giving our oil and gas to Nevada and we're not allowed to use it here? It's a feature. It's not a bug, everybody. Do you understand? It's time to stop looking at all of this in terms of left and right. Although I'm a right winger and a Republican and a conservative. I'm a conservative. But when it comes to these elections, this is my plea to the normies out there, not people who have their head in it like me every day, but the normies. We don't have to live like this. It's actually not an inevitability that gas is really high. It's actually not an inevitability that crime is really bad. It's not an inevitability that we have gas shortages. Newsom is out there tweeting today about lines at the pump. $1.14 of your gas. Maybe not yet, because we still have another gas tax increase to go. They did this incrementally. That was the Prop 6 fiasco. $1.14 by the end of this. Right now, I think it's 98 cents of every 98 cents of every gallon that you pump at the gas station goes to the state of California. That's state taxes, right? That's $1. So if you're paying $6 today at the pump, how much easier would life be if it was $5? I mean, that's still ridiculous. But you know what I'm saying? That's $1 of taxation at the pump. And Gavin Newsom is going, why are refineries so evil? They're price gouging, but they don't, the government doesn't produce anything. The government doesn't produce the oil. The government doesn't refine the oil. The government doesn't risk lives and bodies to go out on oil rigs and get the oil out of the ground. The government doesn't distribute the oil or sell the oil. The government does nothing, and they want $1 a gallon. And for what? Are you looking around Orange County, California? Are you looking around at your roads and going, wow, we are in peak condition here? Like, don't tell me we need the gas tax for the roads when the roads look like this. Start paying attention to what things look like around you. Start asking yourself if you're getting what you've paid for. You are not, California. Not only are we not getting what we paid for, we're paying for stuff that other people are getting. If that doesn't enrage you, I don't know what will. But the fact that Gavin Newsom is on a presidential campaign tour right now, when his state, we were just set to release a rapist, a child rapist. We were just set to release that guy back into the population, despite him being sentenced to 3 life terms. And the only reason that was stopped from happening is the Sacramento police chief grew a pair. He's a union guy, so he's been voting for Democrats. This is his fault as much as anybody's. But the Sacramento police chief grew a pair and got on social media and said, this is outrageous. And the story went viral because, of course, it's outrageous. But we don't have to live like this. This is what Democrats are selling you. This is what and they continue to. I don't know if you watched the gubernatorial debate that Steve Hilton cleaned up that stage. Again, another big, that was a real miscalculation for Chad, because he should have been up there to clean up too with those Democrats. They don't know anything, and it's very obvious when they were up there. And I think even the audience could see that. I watched Fox 11's breakdown afterwards, and they're all Democrats on that show. And they all were like, yeah, nobody won. Which is how you know that Steve won. Because even they thought the Democrats were terrible. We don't have to live like this. We have lowered the standard for what, we have lowered the standard of care in this state so much. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And that's another reason why I want to do this show, and I want to do it every day, because we're going to need to talk about that. We need to be really honest about all of the reasons that these things are happening. Our political reasons, meaning the people that we're voting for and some of the people we're not voting for, who seem to get there anyway. Katrina Foley, anybody? Oh, we're going to be talking about Katrina Foley this week. She seems to have made herself if you don't know who Katrina Foley is, she is the one of the representatives on Orange County Board of Supervisors. If you're part of the national audience, that will mean nothing to you, except to know that that was a Republican seat that it was stolen in the last election cycle. Part of the problem was that the Republicans couldn't get their act together, and we ran 3 Republicans that split. But there were shenanigans at play. And now the Democrats run a red county. And this is coming to you. This is coming to a county supervisor board, a school board, an assembly, a legislative body near you. I don't care what state you're in. If you live in Idaho, if you live in Oklahoma, if you live in Ohio, you need to be paying very close attention to what the DSA is doing there. They're running people as Republicans. And they're trying to give you the jungle primary system that we have here in California. And some people are thinking that that's good in places like Idaho and Ohio. My friend Matt Edwards is an Idaho broadcaster. He does Idaho news. And he's been sounding, and he's from California. He's been sounding the alarm on the jungle primaries. It's coming near you. This show matters to you too. What we do in Orange County matters to you too, because this isn't a one-off. This is a plan. They have executed it nearly perfectly here in California. We've got a chance to stop them, and I think we're going to do it. I think we are. But boy, oh boy, The pain we have suffered here in California, that's a constant national story, isn't it? It's near you. It's there already. If you see someone pushing open primaries or anything that's called a jungle primary or a top two system, rejected out of hand, that is a parliamentary system Trojan horse. Let's go to, I do want to get to this story because when I talk about how we have lowered the standards of care in the state, this is a holistic problem, y'all. We have to wrestle back everything at the same time. The law, the streets, and the family, tradition, faith, public education, all of it's got to be wrestled back at the same time. Setting standards. Let me tell you one of the most, I think, undervalued but brilliant propaganda campaigns. I think it's propaganda and in a good way coming out of the White House. It's coming from the Department of Transportation. Dress up to fly. It's silly. They use the old, the old artwork from like the 50s. They use like that kind of style and remind people of like a classier day. But you know what they're talking about, don't you? Because you have pictures of your grandmother or her mother just going out shopping and she's dressed to the nines. She's got heels and a dress on. Her face is done up, and that's how people used to go out all the time. When I was a kid, my grandfather was a pilot. And when I was a kid, I used to be able to fly a lot with him. And I was not allowed to wear jeans on the plane. My grandfather and grandmother always insisted I dressed to fly, dressed up to fly. Dressing up to fly isn't just about looking nicer and making sure that Americans don't look sloppy. It sets a tone. It sets the tone for your culture. It sets your culture. It's one little thing that reminds people in America, this is who we are and this is how we act. And you know what happens when you put on your good clothes? You act a little bit better, don't you? That's the truth. It changes you. And when I started this experiment over a year ago, where I decided I'm dressing up on planes. I am no longer wearing, I think we went to Europe last year and yeah, I like allowed myself a more casual outfit for an 11-hour flight. But I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to put some effort into it. I'm going to figure out how to make it work for me so I'm still comfortable, but looking better. And you know what? Everything changed. Everything changed. The level of service changed, the way even down to the cranky stranger, how people treated me changed. I get compliments when I walk through the airport. Never did before. I mean, I know you're saying, Kira, you're cute. You have those dimples. You probably get compliments all the time. Oh, thank you. No. When I'm in my mom uniform, no, I don't. And I started getting compliments. All that to say, there's something about setting the tone, right? Setting the culture, raising the bar. This is what has happened in Black America. This is why I'm a conservative, because I just watched the left lower that bar and lower that bar and lower that bar for Black Americans, and then, and call it help. And it's so rude and offensive, because what it does is it sets the standards of our culture. First of all, it separates our culture from American culture, right? We're something different somehow. And then it lowers, it puts it down here, right? No liberal white parent would tell their kid to lower the bar. They wouldn't dare lower the bars. Right? They're pushing their kids to Princeton and to Harvard and getting the top grades and getting the top internships, right? They're not lowering the bars. But for you, poor black and brown people, I hate the term black and brown. I hate that. The term brown erases black, to my opinion. And it's like the term brown is like trying to piggyback on something that is very uniquely American, which is Black American. That's a different show. We've got to set the culture is my point. So let me get to the story about the LA Marathon. Okay. You may have heard this, but the LA Marathon has they ran on Sunday and they instituted or designated a new finish line. That's right. I'm going to read this story from the New York Post. The Los Angeles Marathon has 2 finish lines this year, and people aren't happy about it. As temperatures in LA hit 88 degrees, organizers offered runners the option to finish their race early at the 18th mile and still receive their medal if they were, quote, having a tough day. This isn't good broadcasting. I'm sorry, because I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless. Talk about lowering the bar. It's a marathon, folks. A marathon's 26 miles. Why do you run a marathon? Because it's a huge challenge and not everyone can do it. And when you finish it, you feel good because you finished something that is next to impossible for a large majority of the population. And leave it to Los Angeles. They've said, well, maybe some people are having a tough day and we're going to change the finish line. While the winner, Nathan Martin of Michigan, took first place over Kenya's Michael Kamau, that was a stunning finish. Did you see that? I mean, a stunning finish for a marathon. There was an early escape route on offer as temperatures hit 88 degrees. Martin won the men's race by 0.01 of a second. But for the less than athletically inclined, the McCourt Foundation announced another route to the finish line. If you're having a tough day and want to end your race before mile 26.2, you can choose to take the turn at mile 18 and head to the finish line early. The McCourt Foundation, which is hosting the event, announced on its website on Friday. You do not need to notify anyone of your decision, and you can opt out of the route at any time. The LA Marathon, 26.2 miles, run by the world's elite marathoners, has decided not only that they want to give a second finish line for the losers that can't make it all the way. You don't even have to tell anybody. You don't even have to tell anybody. It's just the erasure of all standards and achievement. Jillian Michaels, right? I named the title of this episode, Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes, because the stupid games that the Democrats play with us here in California give us all these stupid prizes, right? Crime, border, disease, all this stuff. But I should have called it, you were right, Jillian Michaels, it's a feature. Congratulations. Welcome to the club, girl. It's a feature. It's not a bug. It is the constant lowering of standards. And if we don't stop this right now, it is actually on purpose. It is to lower and degrade the achievement level of Americans. It's on purpose. And they do it to Black Americans, Black children particularly, because Black Americans that's a very creative class of citizenry, but in the past has also been a very powerful voting bloc. Although our power is waning, and this is the other thing I want to tell Black people. I know I'm going off on a little tangent here, but this is what I do. I want to tell, particularly in California, we're only 5 to 6% of the population. We've got this reparations board. Do you know that we have a reparations committee? Do you know we have one? No, I know you're thinking of something different. You're thinking of the original study, the commission to study. But see, that commission released a report. You may have even seen me on Fox News talking about it. They released that report last year or the year before, and it was something like $1.3 trillion was their estimation of one. I think they had 13. They identified 13 areas that are worthy of reparations, even though we were never a slave state. And one of those areas was the price tag on that was $1.3 trillion. Absolutely unaffordable, even for a nation, let alone a state. But the governor is going to run for president on reparations. That's going to be part of his platform. He needed something, but he needed us also to shut up and give him his vote. So give him our vote. So what did he do? He established a reparations department under the DOJ. It's just sitting there right now, funded to the tune of $6 million. There's no head. There's no mission. It's just a money suck right now. Supposedly, it's there to right all the wrongs against free Black Americans in the state of California. I've been doing some research on it. It's all very vague. But for 5 to 6% of the population in California, why do we have this? Why is it funded at $6 million? And what exactly is it going to do for this 5 or 6%? What if it actually did something like improve the lives of students? Black, brown, white, Asian, just students. What if it did something like, instead of saying we're going to divide who deserves the help, we're going to say, you know what? The same thing that plagues Black students in California is what plagues all students, which is a lack of access to quality curriculum, quality historical curriculum, quality social curriculum, quality teachers, too many administrators. What if we used a department like the reparations department in California to actually bring real equality to California for everybody? And what if that was the reparations that we brought, instead of but see, what they want to do is constantly lower the bar. So the Gavin Newsoms of the world, instead of going, you know what, why don't we figure out a way how to bring Black men home to their families, because it is the Black father missing that has destroyed Black America. Like without exception, statistical and undeniable fact. Instead of saying, why don't we figure out how to strengthen and empower Black men to lead their families and lead businesses and in turn lead the state? He says his response is, how do we figure out how to lower test scores for Black boys, how to lower the bar so they don't have to jump so high over it because they're not very good at math? That's their solution. That's their solution to everything. It's not just people in the Black community. That's something that's close to my heart because my family and I are Black. But it's not just lowering the bar for one particular community. It lowers the bar for our state. Think about what California used to be. This was when I was growing up, California was the American dream. LA law, come on. Dynasty, wasn't that in Fresno? I wanted to be Dominique Dawes so bad. Whatever, pick a Three's Company that was in San Diego, but like in the 80s and 90s, just everybody in the world wanted to be in Los Angeles. Now nobody wants to be in Los Angeles. When you thought of Los Angeles in the 80s and 90s, you thought of a blonde girl or a blonde guy with a surfboard or a skateboard in his hand. That vision of California is gone. It's dead. And people don't have a California vision anymore. People don't have a California dream anymore because we elected a supermajority Democrat legislature and they've done nothing but lower the bar for this state since they've been in charge. And now the bar is so freaking low. We have a governor who doesn't even work here. He's already acting like he can run for president, and he's done such a crappy job in California. The entire state is set to collapse. And he's on a book tour. And while he's on the book tour, he's actually insulting President Trump, is not getting his job done. This man is vile. What has happened to this state is vile. And the reason why I talk about Orange County so much is because Orange County we're the last people holding the line here, folks. It's us. There's great red Republican warriors in counties across this state. Absolutely. But Orange County is the standard. And everything that Sacramento does is aimed at us. Just the way that in your state, Everything your Democrat-led state does is aimed at your business. It's aimed at your family. It's aimed at weakening your parental rights. It's all aimed at destroying what is good and keeping you cranky and miserable and scared. And I'm here to tell you, we don't have to live like this. We don't have to live like this. It wasn't always like this in California, and it doesn't have to be. We do not have to welcome all of the world here. We do not have to welcome all of the third world here. We do not have to pay for the health care of people who are here illegally. We don't have to do it. We really don't. They can find their own health care or go home. Thing we used to do. Stop accepting the status quo. That's what I'm asking you to do. Orange County, California, America, stop accepting the status quo. This is why we need to see arrests. I was telling my son earlier today, I think we need to bring back public hangings. I do think we need a public execution. I'm very serious. Not just anybody. I'm not suggesting you just go grab some rando. But there are some people who have committed some very heinous capital crimes in this country, like against our nation. Treason. When we find one of those people, I think we need to raise the bar a little bit for what we will accept. What will you accept? How much corruption will you accept? How much theft of your tax dollars will you accept? If you don't get angry, you're giving them permission to do everything to you. You're giving them permission to do it. California, you're giving Gavin Newsom permission. You're giving them permission to do this. How many of y'all like the paper bags we all have to use now? Now there's no plastic bags, everybody who's listening from outside of California, no plastic bags. At the grocery store, yeah. No, you either bring your own bag or you have to pay for a thin, useless brown paper bag. Did any of you ask for this? Liberals, progressives, did any of you vote for that? No, you voted for reusable bags. You voted for to get rid of those little plastic bags. I miss those things so much. You voted for that. Did you vote for no bags at all? No, but they just did it to you. You gave them the permission. Because you voted for people and you didn't really know what they really wanted. Because you didn't ask. All you did was vote by the letter at the end of the name. And you know what? Now we're in this position where the only way to get out of it is to vote for a letter at the end of the name. And this time it's got to be R. Because we only have a two-party system. And you're going to have to go make some noise, voters. They only respond to losing their jobs. It's the only, because they don't care about you. They don't care about you. It couldn't have been more obvious than when Gavin Newsom was dining at the French Laundry for $100,000 a plate. And you were sitting at home with your kids wondering how you guys were going to survive the next couple of months. And he was arresting surfers in the middle of the ocean, but he wasn't just telling you that you were going to kill people if you went out. He was telling your kids that he was calling your kids murderers. Our kids grew up with that. Do you understand that? Do you understand that in the formative years of their lives, our kids got the message that they were diseased, dirty little freaks who would kill their grandparents if they hugged them. And that's the message they got. What we are up against in this election cycle, and this is why I go so hard in the paint for Steve and for this whole gubernatorial thing. Any other election cycle, I would just let these two work it out. But I'm telling you, what we are facing is evil. What we are facing is actually a diabolical plan to strip California of liberty. And it's very odd to be here right now the rest of the country is enjoying the golden age, and we're still 18 months behind everybody else. And it's very weird to be here. We basically live in a banana republic, but we're all running as if we still live in a normal election, a normal election process. And our system here in California has been completely taken over. We can still win, but now we've got a situation where it's got to be too big to rig, or We need voter ID, but you've got to go to the ballot to get the voter ID. You got to go vote for the voter ID. You're not angry enough, is what I'm saying. And anger without action is useless. That's just complaining. And there are some things you can do right where you are to get in the game. I wrote a whole book about it in 2022. It's time to update it. But you can do stuff right where you are. You don't have to just run for office. A great place to start is, I have found, is your local GOP club system. So ladies, especially, find yourself a ladies club. The GOP club, you see advertisements for them often, but you can go to your state party or your county party, go look them up, or ask AI, and they'll give you a list of Republican clubs that meet. Great place to start, because while the outside world might look at the ladies who lunch and think it's kind of cheesy, it is far from cheesy. I can tell you, these are the soldiers. These are the people who are doing the work, and they're all plugged in. They're going to the city council meetings. They're keeping up with the bills. And so a great way to be informed is to be in a club. And you meet once a month, you go to a lunch, and yeah, it's not the most fascinating, world-changing speakers. That's not the point. It's informative. They're telling you what's happening right in your own backyard. And when you hear about some of the stuff, it's going to make you angry. That's what I mean when I say some of you aren't angry enough. You don't know what's going on. And we don't have the privilege right now of living in peace. We are not in peacetime. We're in war. So human beings are not meant to be ratcheted up to an 11 all the time. But that's what the left has made us do. You need to listen to Trump. If you want to go back to normal life, we need peace through strength. So that means you got to start showing up. Why don't you join me at my club here in Orange County? I am a part of the Southern California Area Republican Women's Club. It's a long name, SCARW to shorten it. Find us on Instagram. And we meet once a month. And actually, we're meeting, I think, on March 18th this month. And our speaker is going to be Steve Hilton. And that's not because of me. We actually had Chad Bianco 2 months ago, ladies. I think it was 2 months ago. He was well received. People loved him. It was a great event. I actually had been called away to a work event and couldn't join at that time. So this is not a partisan thing, and our club does not endorse candidates for governor. So we're giving both a chance, but Steve Hilton's going to be there on the 18th. So you can get your tickets. Go to scarw.org, scarw.org to get those tickets. But when I joined that club, I suddenly was opened to a whole new world of activism, locally speaking. All right. And so I want to move to a local race that I think y'all need to be paying attention to, because I want to talk about the issue of our jungle primary and the problems it creates for us. So before I do that, though, I do want to remind everybody to go over and check out my other podcast. My Christmas podcast is called Journey to Christmas Land. I actually do it all year long with one of my best friends, Amelia Hamilton. We love Hallmark movies, and we love the cheesiness of it, and we love the formula. Yes, we know they're all the same. That's what we love. And we love that they're all the same, and it's become kind of a game to watch the movies and pick out all of the tropes and, the cheesy things they do. So we started a whole podcast about it. It's called Journey to Christmas Land, and you can find it on YouTube. It's a Substack show. Go to Substack, look up Journey to Christmas Land, or just look up my name and it'll come up, and subscribe, or you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Facebook, Instagram, all those places. But if you subscribe, you're going to get a break. I was talking to my husband about this last night. He was like, I didn't realize you guys were going to do this all year round. Like, what do you do when the Hallmark Christmas season ends? First of all, the Hallmark Christmas season never ends. All right. Hallmark plays Christmas movies all year if you want it. But Christmas never ends because, the baby Jesus, the blessing of baby Jesus is forever. But also, what never ends is just the drudgery of the news cycle. And I can't have my head in it all day. And so Journey to Christmas Land is a great escape from that. And it is kind of nice to have your head in some cheesy Christmas movies for, an hour or two a week. There's no politics at all. We don't bring up politics at all. Nothing. And that's like a Herculean effort for me. So go subscribe to that. And this month is our March Madness. We're actually doing March Madness Hallmark brackets. We're making we're making the perfect Christmas movie. So you can go, and as a subscriber, you can vote for best actor, best actress, favorite plot device, and favorite trope. And at the end of March Madness, we will have formed the perfect Christmas movie. That's Journey to Christmas Land with Kira and Amelia. Please go subscribe now. All right. Let's get to the race for our California House District 49. Wet my whistle here. We've got a race, folks, here in Orange County in District 49. That was a seat. It was another one of those heartbreaking losses. It was a seat that I believe was stolen. I believe there were shenanigans in the 22. That's when I ran for school board. There were shenanigans afoot in Orange County at the registrar's office. It was one of the seats that flipped red to blue. And also we had an issue with the split votes, right? The jungle primary system is set up to disadvantage Republicans. Does everyone understand this? That's the only reason Democrats want it. It is set up to disadvantage Republicans in blue states, in all states, really. Because you know what will happen in a state like Idaho? What they're trying to do to Idaho now is they'll get the jungle primary. It's a fairly red state now. Fairly. It's going purple. That's, you can thank California for that. So even in a fairly red state, but then what they'll do is they will run people who sound Republican. And because you don't have the letter after the name, it's so diabolical, everybody. We have to get rid of the jungle primary system, but we can't get rid of it unless we win. So it's got to be too big to rig. So the jungle primary system is set up to disadvantage Republicans. So this year, Orange County Republican Party, led by Chairman Wilhelm O'Neill. It's not Wilhelm. I better not say that. I think it's William, but everyone just calls him Will. I better not be spreading rumors. But he did something great. He put out, I got to say, I don't really see Republican chairman being this aggressive. Again, I've lived in a lot of different states in my life, and I talked to a lot of Republican admins in my career. I don't think I've seen anyone be this aggressive, but he sent around an email and he said, look, we're endorsing early. We're going to avoid this. We need to win back this seat. We are endorsing this seat early. We're going to endorse Jim Desmond in the 29th. Now, Jim Desmond is better known in San Diego County than Orange County. But because of the redistricting and all of the BS, it's a weird district, of course. So they like to group all of the rich folks down here in South Orange County, and they've lumped us with other people across Camp Pendleton in San Diego. It's a ridiculous district. California is a ridiculous state. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's what we have to deal with. You can't change it now. Got to deal with it. So our chairman said, look, we're endorsing early so we can make sure that no Republicans get in this race. We're going to endorse early as an Orange County party. We're going to encourage San Diego to do the same, and I think they did. And we're going to discourage other Republicans getting in to possibly split the vote. This needs to be a unified field. We have to go after this seat. Orange County needs this seat. The whole reason why the Dems want this is to crush Orange County. We're the last people standing. We're the last red county standing. And we're on our last legs here, politically speaking. The Democrats are winning here. They are. And this is part of the problem, the jungle primary. So Chairman O'Neill sends out this very aggressive, polite but aggressive email to all the Republicans in the county that are on the email list. No shelter for the enemy, meaning we are not going to welcome spoiler candidates into the system. Okay, so we're not going to host events for them. They're not going to be invited to our clubs to speak to the clubs because that's where a lot of local candidates get heard. They're not coming to the central committee meetings, persona non grata. This is a complete blackout. Well, what's happened? And he's right. He's absolutely right. And they endorse right away. And in a jungle primary system, that's very difficult for county parties to do. It's very difficult. And they don't endorse in all cases. And That needs to change too. Well, as of today, there are 2 other Republicans filed in this race. 2 other Republicans. Jim Desmond has announced early he has been campaigning for a year, and the Republican Party endorsed him in 25. They endorsed him before Christmas, I think. And 2 people have gotten in the race. So far, this is what the field looks like. We've got Mike Levin as our representative right now. Democrat Mike Levin. Nobody knows him. Nobody likes him. He doesn't do anything. We hate Mike Levin because he's just a useless idiot. Julian Ariano is another Democrat. Okay, good for you. Go for it. Jim Desmond, as of last week, Star Parker, running as a Republican, Star out of San Clemente, and someone named Eli Stern. So 2 Republicans. Now, I don't know who Eli Stern is, but I know Star Parker because Star Parker and I, hi Star, it's been a while. I didn't realize you were this far south. I thought you were still in LA County. I didn't know. Apparently you've been here for quite a while. I didn't know we've been neighbors. Star and I have done work together in the past. We've been on the Glenn Beck show together in the past. The Black conservative community was very small back in the early days, in the Breitbart days when Andrew was still alive. I have, there's video out there of Star and I appearing together on several shows and radio programs over the years. I haven't seen her since that time. I don't even know if she would remember me. She's very pro-life, very pro-life. You either are or you aren't. She is a strong pro-life advocate. It's actually been part of her life's work and life's ministry. And I think this is what, the platform that she wants to highlight as she is running. But I have to say this, there's no reason for her to be running because she cannot get the party endorsement. All she can do is split votes from that Republican candidate. Like, there's no way for her to push through the primary. She will not win against a Democrat, right? Nobody knows her except for people like me. She doesn't have the party apparatus because she can't get the official endorsement. That's already gone. She doesn't have the official donor apparatus. She might have her own personal donors, but the GOP donor apparatus has been instructed to not be available to her. Why would you stay in a race that you have no chance of winning? The only thing you can do is cause the other Republican to lose. There's only 2 reasons that happens. Someone is ideologically separated from the rest of the pack, right? So Star doesn't come to the meetings and she's not a part of the Republican ecosystem. And by the way, I don't think you have to be. I'm not saying you have to be. We should not be gatekeepers, Republican Party. Anybody should be able to do whatever they want and run wherever they want. But if you're not a part of the system and aware of what's going on in the system, you're going to be ill-informed and you're not going to have the resources you need, right? When I was running for school board, I wasn't part of the system yet. I had to go find people who were already part of the system to help me, to be my liaisons, to sort of sponsor me into the world of Orange County politics so I could get to know those people. So you only run because you're for one of 2 reasons. You care more about your message, right, than the seat. And maybe, I don't know, maybe to you that's okay. Maybe in another election cycle, I might agree. Or you're being paid by the enemy. And sometimes most of the time that's it. I don't know Star at all. I don't know what she stands up for babies and, in my book, that makes you a winner. But a lot of times people don't know that they're being supported by Democrats. They might just get a big donor check from somebody who's very vaguely saying, I love what you do. I want to support you. Stay in the race. And as long as you're in the race, I'm going to keep this check coming. I don't know. I don't know if it's that she has a supporter who sees the benefit in her pulling votes from Jim Desmond, or if she cares about her brand more than the county and the seat. Either way, she has every right to file and every right to run. And we have every right to push her out of the system. So I'm calling on all Orange County Republicans to this should be a complete blackout of Star Parker's campaign. Do not invite her to your clubs. Do not invite her to your events. As long as she is running against Jim Desmond in the 49th, she should be persona non grata in our club system for sure. But any other Republican-led event, there should be no place for her to go, right? To fundraise and get publicity. And that does sound very cruel and mean and harsh. But you know what? We're out of time for wimps, and we're out of time for kindness. And if Star was actually more involved in the politics of this county and state, she'd feel the same way. I'm sure of it. Because the Star Parker I've worked with, in the past, was passionate and a foot soldier and somebody willing to do the hard work to fight for life and the right to life. Because when she's informed about an issue, she doesn't let go. So I'm just going to assume that actually Star's actually not very informed about what's going on here in Orange County and not informed enough to know she's actually going to hurt the county by doing this. So we'll have to help inform her by just shutting her out of the system. And you should be doing that for every third candidate, right? Especially if your county party has endorsed someone, then that's that. Your clubs should not be hosting spoiler candidates. Okay. And this is how we have to be, because we have a jungle primary system and we didn't do that. That's the Democrats' fault. But the only way we beat the system is to do the thing that they don't expect us to do, which is unify. That's the only way to beat it. We have to unify. We have to do the thing they don't expect us to do. And we have to keep doing those things. Tomorrow, we're going to wrap this up. Tomorrow, I'm having Shan, my education correspondent. She's just my political correspondent, because this woman, you're going to want to know her. You're going to want to follow her. She's got her, that you want to talk about people who are informed. This is somebody who has their finger on the pulse of things that are going on right here in Orange County. We're going to talk about some very scary things happening in the school districts here in Orange County. If you have kids in Capital Unified and you think that your conservative school board is working for your kids, you're going to be very worried about the conversations we're going to have tomorrow, because actually they're not. And this is actually one of the most disappointing stories, because you think you have a victory, and then again, this is why you have to stay vigilant. Everyone has to be held accountable. The bar has to be risen. Okay, we have to raise the bar. We have to stop lowering. We have to stop lowering the bar for who we choose, for our politicians. We have to stop lowering the bar for our children. We have to stop lowering the bar for our Black children. We have to stop lowering the bar for our governors. And we have to say, no, we don't do this here. This is my theme for 2026, I think. We don't do this. We don't do that here. My friend Andrew Malcolm, love him. He used to write for the LA Times, and now he is at Red State, my old publication. Just a genius writer, one of the just OG. He's old. He's an old man. I love Andrew's stories for days. And he told us a story once. I was in a work thing with him, and he told us a story once about how when he was a boy, maybe 10 or 11, he remembered he was outside, and I can't remember exactly what the thing was, but I think he said something rude to the neighbor lady, right? Or he didn't properly, it's probably not rude compared to what we would consider rude in 2026, but he said something that was out of bounds for him, and his father heard him. And his father said, Andrew, we don't do that here. And Andrew says it's something I've always carried with me. And I always think about that. And sometimes what ails a society is as simple as that. No. We don't do that here. And in Orange County especially, one of the things that I found both bizarre and annoying, but also as time went on, a comfort, was this hedge that is here. It's not a freeway. It's not fences or security. It's a notion. And the notion is, no, we don't do that here. And that's what makes Orange County great. And that's what's going to make California great again. That's what's going to make California golden again. Is when enough of us stand up and say, no. We don't do that here. We're different. We're better. We're special. We're California. Tune in tomorrow for another live show, 11 a.m. Pacific. Make sure you hit all the subscribe buttons so you are subscribed everywhere, particularly X or Facebook. Those are the best platforms to subscribe to. You'll see all of our stuff, our memes, all of that. And then you'll never miss a live show. We will be back tomorrow morning in this space with our live show. Don't forget to reach out to me with your tips or your complaints at ocreport@protonmail.com, ocreport@protonmail.com. And but you can find all of our contact info on the socials. And we've got a lot to talk about here in Orange County and in California. Exciting times coming up. I'm actually feeling hopeful, and I hope you are too. But don't get too cocky out there, because there's a lot of work to do before we get to declare victory. So until I see you again, everybody, I'm Kira Davis. Bring on the sunshine. Peace out.